Hallo, ich heiße Florian Buchhorn, ich bin Brauer und Brauereiingenieur und ich möchte euch gerne für das Thema Bier begeistern. Today I'm going to talk about beer production and malting process. Let's start. What is beer according to the German purity law? Outside of the German purity law, other cereals like rice or maize are used for brewing purposes. In some cases, only malt is used, then it is usually mentioned on the label for marketing pure-pures. For example, pure malt lager. In Japan, the beer tax depends on the malt content in beer. But in some countries worldwide, malt cannot be produced due to different climate conditions, and then it has to be imported or other cereals are used. But now let's focus on barley. The ingredients for beer according to the purity law are barley, malt or wheat for top fermenting beer, water, hops and yeast. The following is a quote of William IV, Duke in Bavaria. In particular, we want that from now on in our cities, markets and in the countryside no more pieces than barley, hops and water shall be used for beer. Anyone who knowingly violates this order and does not comply with it shall have the barrel of beer, as often as it occurs, taken away from him by his court authority as a punishment. At the time of the enactment of the purity law, yeast was considered only as a byproduct of beer production and not as an ingredient and was therefore not mentioned. It was not yet known that yeast was involved in alcoholic fermentation. Let's start with the malting process. We have our barley from the field. The first step is cleaning and storage. Storage is necessary to overcome the dormancy to prepare the barley for the germination. To start with the germination, we need to add water to the barley. The water uptake activates the enzymes which start to grow, and the enzymes start to form during the germination process, which is simulating the natural germination on a barley field. On a certain moment, when we assume the exact and best enzyme conditions, the malt is dried, and this step is called kilning. During the kilning process, the humidity from the germination phase is reduced and the malt becomes storable, and also coloring and flavor substances are formed during the kilning process depending on the temperature and time. The malt is finally stored again and transported to the brewery, but this storage process is not mandatory as the first storage process. The brewing process looks quite complex, and it is complex. You can study it at least. We take the malt from the malt factory and it is crushed in a roller mill or in a hammer mill or whatever. Then the grist, the destroyed malt, is mixed with water. The water addition activates the enzymes. The enzymes were formed during the germination process, and the enzymes convert the starch sugar from the barley malt into fermented sugars, mainly maltose sugars. Those sugars are needed during fermentation to produce the alcohol and CO2. After the mashing process, during the lautering step, the liquid with all the sugars is separated from the remaining husk. This step is called lautering process. After the lautering, we receive a very sweet liquid which is cooked with added hops to make the hop bitter acids soluble and to evaporate unwanted flavoring substances. After another cleaning process to remove unwanted protein particles and hop remains, the wort is cooled down, yeast is added, fermentation is started. Usually for bottom fermenting beer it takes between 2-3 days, 1 week, up to 2 weeks, depending on the industrial level and on the beer style. After the main fermentation is ended, the storage period of beer depends between 1 week and 4 weeks, up to 6 weeks for special beer styles, and depending on the industrial level of the brewery. After fermentation and storage, beer is usually cleaned in a filtering process, and afterwards it is bottled and labeled and sold to the consumer, or it is filled into beer kegs and can be drunken in the nice pub next door. Cheers! Let me know what other topics you would like to hear about beer. Wenn euch das Video gefallen hat, dann liked bitte den Kanal, das Video und schreibt mal einen Kommentar. Vielen Dank und bis zum nächsten Video.